Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within Warzone right now, we've obviously got a lot of our main meta weapons, some top tier rifles, SMGs, LMGs, battle rifles, so on and so forth. The usual standouts are great for what they are, but there's a handful of weapons in this game right now that in the right hands, if you practice with this gun enough or that gun enough, it is absolutely borderline broken. You know, overpowered versus broken is an interesting conversation, but when it comes to weapons that are just absolutely absurd if you know what you're doing with them, I found 5 right now that really stand out to me as some of the most broken in the game. And today, of course, we're breaking down the setups for them. So we're starting first with the weapon that we've sort of featured on and off throughout the years so far, and that is the LMS Marksman from Modern Warfare 2. Definitely a much higher skill gap weapon. That's why I say if you know what you're doing with this gun, it has so much potential. The average player might not be able to pick this up like they could a BP-50 or like an HRM-9 or something like that and do well with it. If you spend time learning how this gun behaves, though, how it feels, where to use it, it is nuts because its TTK from 0 to, you know, 60, 70, 80 meters, any realistic engagement, is one of the best in the entire game when you're landing your shots consistently. Thing is, though, it being semi-auto means it's somewhat more difficult to use. We are going for the Spirit Fire Suppressor first and foremost here, helping out with that range, which is an incredible effective damage range, almost 50 meters there. Better velo as well and a little bit better control. Because it's semi-auto, Brew and heavy support is going to be super important here, giving us better firing aim stability and idle sway, alongside some better control when we are spamming it. I also go for the high grain rounds, even better range of velocity on there. We got the 20 round extended mag, which is the max. That's one of the balancing factors of this. Only having 20 rounds for sniper ammo is not a ton here, so you got to be very accurate with your ammo, but if you are, you're going to be able to knock players so quick that it won't be a huge concern. Lastly, we got the 2.5 times eagle eye optic on here. This thing, like I said, high skill gap, but good grief, can it absolutely just rip through anyone and anything at any range. You can see when you spam it, there's not a ton of control. You can stay on target relatively well after you spend some time getting used to it and getting familiar with it. Yeah, definitely a weapon that I think is slept on, but is so busted if you are accurate with it to any extent. Next up, we got another marksman here. This time it's the MCW, which we already know is one of the top TTK options in the game, but what's still broken is a setup that we've talked about some time ago, and that is the Hitscan meta. For whatever reason, the MCW 6.8 is a weapon that has the best velocity with a specific set of attachments, and have actually adjusted some things lately to get an even better velocity at the cost of some other things. So while this is not the most practical setup I would usually run on the MCW 6.8, having a 2000 velocity is the definition of broken in this game. If you shoot at any range, your bullet is going to connect almost instantaneously. It doesn't feel like there's any bullet travel time. It truly does feel hit scan. So a couple of basic things: 2.5 times eagle eye optic, the 60 round drum. This is a huge advantage over other marksmen. 60 rounds with sniper ammo is crazy good. Now, the Spire Point rounds are one of the most important parts of this setup. It gives it a 50% increase to the velocity for some reason, which is absolutely unnecessary, but makes this setup so incredibly broken. On top of that, if you use the Tempest Predator barrel, it ends up giving you a 27% increase to your velocity. Crown is also a viable option. This gives you 21, but if you're going for just max velocity, Predator is going to give you a little bit more in exchange for obviously worse control and whatnot. Like I said, maybe not the most practical build in terms of overall stats, but for hit scan and velocity, this is the go-to. Lastly, the Nil Sound 90 suppressor, again, not ideal when it's hurting your range and some of your idle sway, but for pure velocity, it's giving you 18%, which is crazy compared to some of these other options. Others offer 18, but maybe aren't as good in other areas for what it's worth. More realistically, Spirit Fire Suppressor would give you an 8% here, which would be viable as well if you're looking for something a little bit more stable. But if you want just straight up velocity, this is the set of attachments you want to be using, and nothing competes to that value in this game, which is absolutely absurd considering that, yes, you can spam this thing with a pretty fast fire rate over all ranges, and it's going to have that hit scan feel. By the way, as we're breaking down all the loadouts here today, if you are new to the channel or you simply haven't subscribed yet, let's change that, because this is your one-stop shop for all things going on in Call of Duty. News, updates, patch notes, the latest meta breakdowns, and everything else in between is here on a daily basis. So feel free to hit that sub button. button. And if you enjoy this video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. It's always really appreciated. Next up, we've got one of the best movement subs in the game right now, the new Horus SMG built specifically for tac stance. We've talked about this build a little bit in the past, but when it comes to the movement, the absolute finesse ability of a weapon, this thing's tac stance speeds are crazy. Its TTK is not insane, but its movement is going to throw off so many enemies when you're firing at them in tac stance and just bobbing and weaving, duck dive, dip diving, and dodging like crazy, right? So it's a little finicky to get this setup to work correctly. Initially, I got the 48 round extended mag. That's very basic. Light stock's an obvious choice here for the movement benefits and the tac stance spread benefits. The Kimura laser also offers good tac stance spread. There are some other options like Verdant hook, for instance, which will give you decent tac stance on top of some hip fire as well. So you could like sort of flip back and forth between which one you value more there. Kimura will help out some with your sprint to fire, as will Verdant hook. So you can kind of go back and forth there. Then we come to the barrel and the underbarrel. And for whatever reason, initially you want to be using the Bastion angled grip on here because this gives you insane tac stance spread, right? But in order to equip this, you have to first go through and put on the Martis heavy barrel and then equip the Bastion, and then I'd actually change out to the Ruse Light 90 because this is going to give you better movement speed, a little bit better sprint to fire as well on there. So just increasing that some. So weird that you have to do certain steps to get all these attachments on here, but once you do so, you're set. This thing moves like crazy. Hey everyone, wanted to take a quick second and chat about my friends over at G Fuel. If you're looking to stay focused, energized, or just hydrated, they've got you covered all around with their normal tubs, their hydration tubs, and their cans. A couple of my personal favorites at the moment gotta be Sage Mode Hydration, Watermelon Mint, and also Starfruit. Now, if you're looking to try G Fuel for the first time, they got sample packs. Those are perfect for just finding out which flavors you prefer. And then once you're set there, grab a full-on tub and restock on your favorites. And whatever you're looking to pick up, if you throw in code Immortal at checkout, you'll get yourself a nice little discount. The link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Now, another slightly higher skill gap weapon, the FTAC Recon. But if you're talking purely broken TTKs, this thing is almost unmatched at every single range, especially in like its close-ish and mid-range areas, like some sniper support style stuff. This thing's unbeatable. And then even in the long range, it's pretty wild as well. Again, there is some balance here in what the weapon is. It's a battle rifle, so you would think it has decent ammo capacity, but no, not at all. Not whatsoever. 15 rounds is the max here. So while you can store plenty of ammo, you're gonna have to reload like crazy. And I mean, you can spam this thing decently well, right? So 15 rounds is gonna get burned through. But if you're putting those 15 rounds all into an enemy, you're gonna have knock after knock after knock here, right? So you have to be careful with your aim, but if you're accurate, it will be a significant payoff for sure. I got the Precision Elite Factory stock on here. This is just simply helping out with a little bit of control. It's an MW2 gun, so a lot of the base attachments kind of suck. 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic, very basic here. Bruin heavy support again because of that firing aim stability and idle sway benefits that you're getting on a semi-auto gun. And then also Spirit Fire Suppressor is going to help out here too with that range, velocity, and control. And I mean, for 15 rounds, you can get a pretty decent fire rate on that thing, right? Like that's me spamming it to basically my best ability. It's still the morning, so I'm not fully warmed up, but like you can put out that 15 rounds very quick. If you got a good trigger finger, you're gonna realize that, oh yeah, I'm knocking players quick, but I gotta stop, reload, stop, reload. So maybe this is more broken for like solos or duos, or if you're just a cracked player who knows how to use movement and cover to their advantage quickly and you can adapt to that, this can be really good. But purely TTK wise, this thing's crazy. And then lastly, another option that we've talked about before, but I'm still surprised it hasn't been adjusted. The SVA 545 we know is about as reliable as any rifle in the game, but specifically when you flip it into semi-auto mode, or in this case hyper burst mode, it still has no recoil. And it's very easy to spam for some reason. Now the setup here, it's extremely basic. We've talked about this several times in the past. Spirit Fire Suppressor, range velocity control. Precision Barrel is better range velocity control, and a little bit of aiming idle sway, which is nice obviously if you're using this in semi-auto mode. Bruin heavy support again is going to be super clutch in semi-auto or hyper burst too. Better control, but also the firing aim stability and idle sway benefits. 60 round extended mag, so you can spray and pray to your heart's content there. Then also 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic. Like I said, the setup is not a mystery whatsoever, but it is a mystery to me how this hasn't been adjusted in some way, shape, or form. You see, we go into semi-auto mode, and as you spam it, which is very easy to do, the gun doesn't move whatsoever. So this means you can fight at pretty extreme distances and really not even have to adjust your left stick or your right stick, and it's going to shoot in the same place every single time, which is crazy considering this thing's got a super competitive TTK in the rifle category. You're going to be able to stay on target, be deadly accurate, and have a crazy quick TTK. So wild to me that they haven't adjusted the recoil or anything there, and this has been a thing for some time now. But that being said, those are 5 of the most broken weapons and setups here in Warzone right now. That's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.